Welcome to the partnership path in real life. Ever felt the gap between theory and reality? We're here to bridge that. Dive into real stories, real challenges, and real successes from professionals just like you in the partner and channel management world. Each episode is a journey, a lesson from those who've walked the partnership path, faced the challenges, and reaped the rewards. Whether you're a seasoned partner manager or just starting your journey, this is where theory meets practice. Ready to see the real side of partnership? Let's get started.
Well, welcome to the show, Karen. I'm so glad to have you on this episode, and can't wait to hear a little bit more about you. I haven't met you yet, so let me just ask you to introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how long you've been working with partners.
Yeah, you bet. My name's Karen Richardson. I live in Colorado. It's a lovely state. I have been working with partners throughout my entire career, which spans
Nice.
about 4 decades. Most recently, I have
Come
joined
on,
my.
no way. There's no way you've been working for 4 decades,
I
but
know as child labor, but we won't talk about that. My latest has been with Microsoft, and I'm a partner development manager, and just absolutely thoroughly love the job.
awesome. Excellent. Okay. Well, as you know, this is in response to our last episode of the partnership path, where we talked about kind of a way to posture for partnership business reviews. So let me start by just asking you, like, when you first heard this, what was your reaction? Kind of how do you feel about what we said both in the training when you originally saw it and then in this podcast?
Yeah, I love it. And it's a really good reminder for how to really lead and engage with those stakeholders that you have in your business reviews. And I have done, several different types, monthly, quarterly, and
Yeah,
sometimes when we're in, a very strategic push, it might be weekly. So
yeah,
I really like the validation of, making sure that the stakeholders are there and understanding what you need to be talking to them about, and just making sure that you're very concise, not only in the information that you're delivering to them, but also in what your requests are.
sure. Tell me, one of the things that I think is most challenging in these business reviews, and I said this, I think, in the main episode, was, we have to always remind ourselves that these partners don't work for us, right? Because
Right.
sometimes it can feel a little bit that way. Right? Talk to me about how you kind of remind yourself of that, and then how you make sure and communicate that well in the reviews that you do.
Yeah, that's a really good point because you do just get so invested, right? I mean, many of us work with one or two partners at the most because it's such a huge and strategic engagement, and it is very difficult to remember that you're there to influence and guide.
Right.
They are not there to get directions from you at all. And I think that the biggest reminder for me is the fact that I should not take this personally when we are going through those
Yeah.
business objectives. And that I always call it the Candyland jewels come up of the, red, yellow, and green. That is
Yeah.
not a direct, reminder of how my business or how a reflection of what I am doing. It's the state of the business. So it's
Yeah.
always good to be reminded of that, take a step back and understand that you're there to influence and you're there to help. If there is an escalation, it's not a sign of something that's going wrong necessarily, but where you can step in to really influence that partnership. And that's always good to know, just to take the personalization out of it, that it's a
Sure.
business.
Yeah. Look, one of the things that we try and do in these companion episodes is get super pragmatic. So I'd love if you could provide some tips or tricks, or like kind of your formula for, how you make sure and prepare the right way with your partner for a review. And then, kind of maybe what are some of the things that you do that you've learned over time. I mean, if you've been doing this kind of work for as long as you claim you have,
Forever.
um, I bet you have, done some things the wrong way and done some things the right way, and kind of built your own sort of checklist that you use. Talk to me about that.
I'd like to go back to the episode itself and talk a bit about one of the key takeaways that was a big aha moment for me. And that was the fact that you want to ask your executive a question, you want to have engagement from them. There's an ask.
Right. Right.
Um, but the thing that really got me was that I, like in the episode, asked those executives that question, gave them the action at the end of the meeting. And many times we run out of time, right? We're talking about the business, we have
Yeah.
questions,
Yeah.
and then you're in that last minute, you're like, oh, by the way, we have this huge escalation and we need you as a CEO to come in and talk to the customer, and they're gone. So
Right.
just making sure that that big ask is at the beginning so you can kind of set the tone
Yeah.
for the conversation, I think is so important, because we always kind of go through, this is everything that's going great, and then here's the one issue we have, please help us. And there's no time to really discuss it.
Yeah. That's a super good point. It raises that question of, we used to do this when I was very young in my career and was just getting into sales. We used to always try and prep for every sales call with, the 30 minutes that we were supposed to have. But then what would our agenda look like if we only had 15 minutes? And then what would our agenda look like if we only had five? Right. And so that we could quickly adjust if when you walk in the room, somebody says, yeah, I got to get out of here. Right. It's kind of similar to that you really need to be thinking about that in your business reviews of, hey, look, we think we have the stakeholders for this time, but if we find out we don't, we've got to be able to adjust quickly so that we take advantage of having them there and get what we need out of them, right? Because they're
Yeah.
an important element to that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I also just think, the prioritization, just that comes from all of the training that we've been doing, because I've had, different things at different organizations that I've been working with on partners, everything from licking stamps to not coding software, thank goodness, because I wouldn't be good at that. But in my latest role, I am the development manager. So I manage everything globally for the partner. But that doesn't mean
Yeah.
that you have to be in every single bucket of that partner.
Right.
And I think that's really important for people like me and a lot of my colleagues. We're all very type A IT, technical people that really like to get everything done. We want to, have our hand in every bucket. And so it's really good
Sure.
to really understand, you can't boil the ocean. You can do two or three things very effectively. And what are those things going to be that you're going to be leaning into? And I think that's been really good to listen to from, all of the learnings that we've had with your episodes. So that's been really good.
Awesome. Well, let's finish with this. I want to take advantage, or let the listeners take advantage of your experience. What do you say to someone who is new to the role, whether it's a partner development manager, a partner sales manager, whatever? All those roles have to do business reviews. So, what's your kind of, you know, Mr. Miyagi guidance, right, to the newbie of what do they need to think about when they think about those business reviews? That first time they're going to be in front of the big executives, what's your advice to them?
Yeah, I think there's three things that I would tell them. One is just be very prepared. You already know your business. Don't
Yeah.
feel like you don't. This is not a test, but you do need to be prepared with what you want to present to your stakeholders, because you have, you know, a mission to, provide them with the best information for them to do business in the most effective way that they can.
Yeah.
Then I think the second would be to really understand what your priorities are. Again, you can't boil the ocean. So, what are the top three things that you want to get across in that business review? Understanding what is really going to move the needle in the next cycle to your next review. And
Yeah.
then I think the third would be, unlike Kermit the Frog, you don't need to be green. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. It's like, not, you don't have to
Yeah.
have every single little, Candyland jewel on there to be green. We do need to let the stakeholders know where we have a blocker, where we haven't started, where there might be a stall. And there might be some places where they are green, but if it is green, then I have a feeling that we're probably really not doing everything the right way. We could be
Yeah.
pushing ourselves harder.
Oh, I love that last one, Karen. That's so
Kermit?
critical. Yeah, the Kermit thing. Like, if I could bottle that and give it to people, right, to help them understand that actually, um, kind of facing your yellows and reds right up front and knowing, or doing the hard work of understanding why it's yellow or red,
Yeah,
and then just presenting that, right, like taking ownership of the business. Like, it
right.
is such a critical maturity step that so many people miss. I
Yeah,
love that. That's super good advice.
yeah.
Super. Karen, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to come
You bet.
here and share some of your wisdom and best practices with the group. I just absolutely appreciate it. And I hope we see each other again, and maybe I'll have you back on another episode. We can get you to talk a little bit more. I mean, someone with your experience, I think we need to have on a little more often.
I would love it. I really appreciate the time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you so much, John. Take care.
Thank you for joining us on the partnership path in real life today. Remember, the real world tests theories and creates leaders. Don't stop here. Subscribe, learn, and grow with us. Let's make every experience count. Until our next real life story.